Here's a segment from this month's edition of St. Charles Parish Today, a new monthly local talk show. At this time, 200 years ago, St. Charles Parish, the River Region, and the city of New Orleans were in turmoil. A revolt had just occurred as an armed group of more than 200 slaves headed to New Orleans, starting at Laplace's Woodland Plantation with plans to take the city and free the area's enslaved population. Inspired by a successful 1791 uprising and coup in Haiti, the well-planned revolt almost achieved its goal. But on January 10th, local militia put down the rebellion near present-day Rivertown in Kenner, resulting in the deaths of more than 40 insurgents. In the days that followed, trials, executions by firing squads, and beheadings sent a strong, brutal message to those who might follow in the rebels' footsteps. The event today stands as the largest slave rebellion in American history. Even so, its history has been largely forgotten. With me is Boston resident Daniel Rasmussen, the author of American Uprising, the untold story of America's largest slave revolt, to discuss this pivotal historical event that happened right in our backyards. Daniel, thank you so much for coming on to talk about this event.
Thank you so much for having me, Renee.
Well, first of all, so you're at Harvard and you're looking to do a thesis project. Why this event?
Absolutely. So this revolt is mentioned in a number of books about slavery. And usually they have about 3 sentences. They say something along the lines of, this was the largest slave revolt in American history.
Right.
It happened in New Orleans and very little is known about it. I started out doing investigative journalism. So when I read that, I wanted to get to the bottom of it. When I started looking more into the revolt, what I found fascinated me was a story, not a simple story about a revolt easily suppressed, but a story about slave rebels who were heroes, who were politically organized, sophisticated, complex, and came within 15 miles of conquering New Orleans and establishing a black republic on the shores of the Mississippi.
So, and it's really interesting too that I didn't know about it until I attended college. So it is something that's kind of unheard of, especially for people who even live here.
Absolutely. Today and the next few days, represent the 200th anniversary of the revolt, the bicentennial. For 200 years, this revolt has basically been suppressed, covered up. Almost nobody knows about it, despite the fact that it's the largest slave revolt in American history, several times larger than the revolts led by Nat Turner or John Brown. In fact, between 200 and 500 slaves participated. About 100 of those were killed. Their heads were put on pikes and their dismembered corpses dangled from the gates of New Orleans.
A pretty shocking image to even think about. Yeah.
Absolutely, and that's one of the reasons why this story has been so suppressed. It doesn't jive well with our understandings of American history. To think about slave planters and American military officials who were willing to massacre 100 slaves and put their heads on poles.
Right. So in your research, what surprised you most as you were going through some of this documentation?
Absolutely. What surprised me the most, I think when we think about slaves, we often think about them as victims whose lives were severely constrained by the conditions of their enslavement. The slaves that participated in this revolt were far from that. Charles DeLande, the leader of the revolt, was a slave driver, the leader of his plantation, an overseer. In the planters' eyes, he was their right-hand man, the organizer, the person who was responsible for the punishment of the slaves, the running of the plantation. But Charles was, in modern terms, the ultimate sleeper cell, secretly planning a revolt with the help of several other men. And when the trials after the revolt took place, what emerged from the story was that there were actually 11 separate leaders representing several different ethnic groups, including Louisiana Creoles, slaves born in Virginia, Haitians, Jamaicans, Congolese slaves, a really pan-ethnic group who came together for very explicit political purposes with the goal of overthrowing New Orleans.
Okay. So for those who want to read your book, what would you like your readers to come away with, kind of a main idea?
Absolutely. I think this story is not just a story about black history, Renee. It's a story about American history. And I think in schools we often learn about men like Thomas Jefferson, or here in Louisiana, William Claiborne. But I think that Charles DeLande and Cook and Quamana deserve a place next to those founding fathers because their role in the foundations of this country was very, very important. Slaves built New Orleans. They made the riches that accounted for the wealth that was brought here. And these slave rebels were heroes who represent, I think, the best of what America is. They struggled for the ideals of freedom and liberty and equality, and they were willing to die for those ideals. And that, to me, is a really powerful message that I hope will resonate with people today.
Right. I think this event is certainly something that, celebrate is the wrong word, but just to remember in those ideals that you just talked about, it's so important.
Absolutely. And I don't think celebrate is the wrong word. I think we should celebrate the achievements of those slaves. Because what Charles DeLande and Cook and Quamana did on that day, organizing an insurrection of 200 to 500 slaves, and they knew that if they were found out, it would mean instant death. and were willing, to stand in a line. They marched in military formation, wearing military uniform. They had half bout on foot and half on horseback to pose the largest challenge to slavery and American authority ever in American history. It is a truly tremendous accomplishment. And my goal with this book is that a year from now, this will not any longer be a forgotten story, but one that students in high schools and colleges across the country will learn when they learn about Thomas Jefferson and Nat Turner and many of the other figures whose names are familiar to us today. Right.
So how can people learn a little bit more about the book, and if you have anything else to add?
Absolutely. So online, you can check out my website at www.danrasmussen.net. The book is available anywhere books are sold. And I will be, doing appearances around here in New Orleans at the Destrehan Plantation, the St. Charles Parish Library. I did an event last night at the Historic New Orleans Collection, so we're trying to get the word out as much as possible.
Great, and I want to add too, we are going to film your appearances tomorrow, Saturday. There's going to be two, one at the East Regional Library and at the Destrehan Plantation. So if people are interested in that, they can watch Channel 6 and we'll play that.
Great, wonderful, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and discuss your book.
Oh, it's my pleasure, thank you.
Catch the entire episode right here on Channel 6, daily at 5 p.m. or watch anytime at scptoday.com.